Edition of Sticks and Stones. About to start recording here, so just hold on a second while I get all these people arranged that are on there. Hey, it's an interactive show. No scrimping around here. So hold on just a second. You know, the theme song. You know the thing. All right, here we go. Here we go. Hope you can hear me okay. Hey, Stoners. Welcome to this edition of Sticks and Stones. I am happy you have joined me today. I have a very outside the lines kind of pairing for you today, so you're not going to want to miss a moment, whether you are watching live stream or listening to this later on the audio. I am pairing Blackland Pecan Brown Sugar Bourbon. Blackland is out of Fort Worth, Texas. Yeah. And I am pairing that with a very, very good stick. Just, I don't even have to try it yet. I know it's going to be a good one because EP Carrillo makes some of the best. And that's what I am pairing with the Blackland Pecan Brown Sugar Bourbon is an EP Carrillo La Historia. And I am not sure if it is E3 or EIII, but that's after the La Historia. It's got a capital E and a hyphen and then three little IIIs. So whatever that means, this is it. I will tell you that this is the #2 cigar, according to Cigar Aficionado from the year 2014. So I know it's going to be a good one. You turn my volume up here on the recording just a little bit. Can't quite hear myself well enough. So anyway, very beautiful stick that I know is going to be a winner. And I have high hopes for the Blackland Texas Pecan Brown Sugar Bourbon. That just has a mouthful. And that's what she said. So let's go ahead and dive right into this. Blackland's, and I just love saying this, Blackland's Pecan Brown Sugar Bourbon. Blackland's got its launch in 2018-19, so they're fairly new to the bourbon game. As I said, they are from Fort Worth. A little tip of the hat to a little tip of the Stetson to those of us from Texas. They offer several different bourbon products that include, the kind of the typical offerings, along with this pecan brown sugar, an espresso blend, which I'm going to try that too. That sounds like it's very intriguing. And then they also make a rye, a vodka, and a gin. So they're rather well rounded. The mash bill is not disclosed, but from the available information, this small batch bourbon is 51% corn, or they wouldn't be able to call it bourbon. With the remaining made of wheat, barley, rye, a conglomeration of that stuff. We'll see how sweet it is. It may give us a little indication that it might have a higher corn content, but it's at least 51%. It is a non-age statement, and it is 35% alcohol by volume, which makes it 70 proof. So let's go ahead and glass us up some. I will show you this again here on the live stream. That is that looks like a coffee liqueur, doesn't it? All right, here we go. Sorry that took so long. Sometimes it just takes a little longer to pop the cork than it does others. But it was a really good cork pop. It does have a very interesting bottle. The bottle is, for those of you listening, really remind you of like one of the bottles that you might find back in the pharmacy area of an old pharmacy from, say, the early 1900s, late 1800s. It's just kind of got that, it's got some grooving up and down all the way around it. It's got a flared rim around the neck. And I will tell you that one reason it took a little longer to get the cork out is because the cork with that rim around it, it's hard to get your fingers around it. And I have very long fingers. So it's a little more difficult for me. But let's go ahead and give it a spin. I'll go ahead and, what else can I say at this point? I can't see through it. So it really reminds you of espresso, or maybe even a, soda, regular Coke or Pepsi or something like that, as far as the color. Just a really deep, dark brown. It is very viscous. It clings to the glass very well. So it's got some pretty good legs to it. Let's go ahead and give it a sniff. As you might expect, right away, you get nuts forward, pecans. That is followed up by a really rich, sweet aroma from the brown sugar. There's some hints of caramel and vanilla and oak in it. It does have a wonderful aroma. Really like that. All right, so let's give it a shot on the palate. Being that it is 70 proof, it's very smooth. There's a little bit of alcohol burn to it, and a little that kind of continues on in the finish, but it's not much. It's very, very approachable. At 70 proof, it better be. But you get that kind of oily pecan nuttiness. You get like a kind of a shot of sweetness that just holds on, and that rich kind of brown sugar, or even molassesy, if that's a word, kind of heaviness on the palate. I like it because I prefer sweet over spicy. I can see where the purists might be turned off to this, but it is, in my opinion, it's very good, and it's definitely distinctive. You're not going to have anything else on your whiskey shelf that's going to be anything like this. I'm pretty sure. We'll try another drink. It's really good. And it does kind of remind you of a Kahlua or something along those lines. The way it sits on your tongue, no palate or anything like that. Just the way it kind of sits on your tongue. It kind of goes along with I love Kahlua, and that's kind of what I imagine in my head when I take a drink. This is very good, very good. Like I said, it's definitely distinctive, and there will be some people that just absolutely love it, and there will probably be some, like I said, the purists, the bourbon snobs, that they're like, but hey, don't knock it till you try it. I think it's really good. But I do have a cigar I've got to get to here too, in a minute. And I do think that would be really good, like really good, chilled, or with over an ice cube, ice block. I think it is perfectly balanced, and it's gentle, but it's very identifiable. You've got the pecan taste on the front, then there's just that just sweet enough kind of sugary, bourbony notes that going across your palate. And you do still get that distinct kind of characteristic that this is a whiskey, but it's a very a smooth finish that just really leaves you wanting another sip. Uh, you know, kind of traditional methods combined with like an innovative type of aging and infusing technology or something. Um, so that's I really like that. I'm definitely, I think I'll definitely have to keep some of that on my shelf. But again, now on to the La Historia. Uh, and I've really been looking forward to this cigar. By all accounts, it should give us a rich, lush, and vibrant puff from beginning to end. You know, a style that E.P. Carrillo is known for. Ernesto, he's been making cigars for more than 50 years, and he puts out some exceptional blends. I'm sorry if you can hear my doorbell going off in the back, my 90-pound doorbell. This is considered a Churchill. It is 6 7/8 by 54. The filler is Nicaraguan. The binder is Ecuadorian. And the wrapper, bet you can guess. It's a Mexican San Andres. I seem to be doing a lot of those lately. Number one, I really love them. Number two, it is kind of the chic in thing right now. So cigars they're coming out and they're using the San Andres wrappers. I've seen a San Andres binder. I would really like to try a 100% San Andres Puro. I think that would be very interesting. Filler, binder, wrapper, all San Andres. And the country of origin is the Dominican Republic. Now, visually, this is a soft box pressed, so it's flat on the top and bottoms, but then it's got rounded corners and rounded sides, so it's kind of a hybrid, but it is still considered box press. It's got beautiful banding. I'll hold it up for those of you on live stream to take a look at. I do love the banding on it. And then it also came with a fabric foot band. Those are generally a little bit harder to get off, so I went ahead and took it off before I started. So anyway, visually, medium brown. It's got that kind of like paper sacky feel to it, like the old grocery sacks. Very tight seams, fairly visible. I can see them barber poling all up and down the stick, but they're very tight. It's very well constructed, as you would expect. Minimal veining. The few veins that are visible are fairly pronounced. There's not very many of them. I'd probably count them on one hand if I had to. And then, as I said, it had the beautiful double band with the light blue foot band. I've still got it laying over here somewhere, like that. All right. On the nose. Oh, and don't do this when you're at the cigar shop. Don't pick up a cigar and like run it under your nose. People don't want to smoke it after that. They're like, we don't know what you put on it. But when it's your cigar, it doesn't matter. You get a kind of a hay or grassiness. I get cedar and a little bit of earth. It's a fairly simple profile on the nose, but it's a very pleasant aroma. Go ahead and take the second part of this band off. Going to give it a cut. C-Car V-Cutter. I picked this one up today instead of the Cassetti multi-cutter, just the one I grabbed. Oh, and this does have a very nice triple cap. You can tell I don't know, it seemed to be a little scattered today, kind of all over the place. Just my brain is running faster than normal, I guess. So bear with me, it'll be all right. All right, on the cold draw. I get a real definite earthiness, and sort of a kind of a damp earth kind of thing, like you're in mountainy type woods, Smoky Mountains, Rocky Mountains. and you've got, like the moss and that kind of stuff. It kind of holds the moisture in. That's kind of what you get here. And really, I'm not picking up much of anything else. Maybe, a little leather and a little bit of cedar. All right, let's give it a light. I am using my Rocky Patel Encore Envoy 5 torch. A lot of smoke off this stick right off the light. I pick up cocoa and more of the kind of earthiness off of the cold draw. There's some leather and a little bit of kind of nuttiness. Catch a little bit of spice, maybe a little black pepper on the retro inhale. And just a really, really good volume of smoke. I like this cigar. It's good. It's longer than I normally pick. I normally go somewhere in the Robusto range, 5x50, maybe even up to 54 or so. I used to do a lot of like Toros, 6x60s. Kind of shortened it up, Okay. We're gonna try them together. This is a very, very interesting pairing. Yeah, like I said earlier, it's kind of outside the lines, and I love to dance outside the lines. But here you've got one of the most well-known names in the business in EP Carrillo, along with a much lesser known bourbon maker distiller in Blackland. And the pecan brown sugar bourbon is pairing wonderfully with the kind of earthiness and cocoa on the stick. I'm really kind of surprised. I thought it'd be a good one, but just right off, it's really holding up. Yeah, it's like when you take a sip of the bourbon, the kind of the nuttiness and the brown sugar and the bourbon just kind of meld in with the palate notes off of the stick, and everything just kind of blends together for just an exceptional experience. And then you want to take another sip and another puff. So it's really good. The cigar is very approachable. It's not harsh at all. I would say to me it's a really good like medium strength cigar. It's not mild, but at the same token, it is not overly strong. And I think that is part of also what helps the bourbon and the stick marry together very well. Is the stick is not overpowering the bourbon, and the bourbon is mellow enough at 70 proof with the added brown sugar that it is it doesn't overpower the stick. I think actually what I could say is you take the puff and then you take a sip, and it's like as the sip rolls farther and farther back on your tongue, it just kind of incorporates into the notes off of the stick. That's probably a pretty good way to. I like that. All right. All right. For those of you on listening to this on audio, I am going to put you on hold for a little bit. And while I burn this down to the halfway mark, I will tell you before I go, I will hold this up to the camera. It is a got a very, very slanted burn line to it. Could be the product of my lighting. But yeah, it is. It's like it's high on one side and low on the other. I'll touch it up, keep an eye on it and see what it does. But for those of you listening on audio, I will come back at the half and give you an update. Those of you on live stream, you're going to stay on. Now we can talk about that. All right, I'm going to touch this up. See if it was me. I always mean to bring my my cigarism single torch lighter because I like using it if I have to touch up the light on a cigar, because you can really get that kind of pinpoint accuracy. Where the 5-torch Envoy, it gets the job done. So I like having that laser focus when I need it. But I like the 5-torch when it comes to lighting them, because it'll light them up quick. Man, that is really good. I told you I like sweet, and I really like the sweet on this. It's it's not like overly sweet. Like there's another Texas distillery. I don't mind saying their name because I like their product. Lone Star. Yeah. No, Silver Star. Silver Star. They make a honey liqueur. That'll send you into a diabetic coma. It is delicious, but it is sweet. Right. Uh, it's a really good pairing. Uh, and I think probably both of them could, since I sit back here, I mean, got the other people on hold, so I don't have to sit up close to the microphone. Uh, I think both of them would go with other spirits as well. I think uh, the Blackland. You could go with mild to medium cigars. I don't know if you'd really want to go to a full strength cigar. Um, that might tend to kind of take away from the bourbon just a little bit, um, or maybe even a lot. And by the same token, we're talking about this stick. Uh, I don't know that I would pair it with the super high fueled, high octane bourbons that running up in the 115 to 128 range. They might tend to kind of overtake the cigar a little bit, but the cigar is very enjoyable. And being at 6 7/8, it's going to burn a little while, and so you're going to have plenty of time to sit around and think about it. That was. I thought my ash fell off. Nope. Microphone. I'll do it like that. Yeah, because I'm letting, going to see how the ash does. I've touched it up, and it has not shown signs of going back the way it was. So probably indicative of my lighting, but I do see a split in the ash, maybe a seam there or a stem. We'll see. I will tell you, I'm wearing my, of course you can see it, my Freedom Fatigues Colonial Flag Second Amendment shirt. Love this shirt. Wonderfully soft. And I love the this round stars with the 2A in the middle of it. And it's got that weathered look to it. I haven't had it this long. That's the way it comes. Uh, definitely, definitely worth going and checking out Freedom Fatigue. They got some good stuff over there, and getting more all the time. You'll be able to find a link to them on Sticks-n-Stonez.com, right there on the front page. That is some really good whiskey. Just can't get over that. Oh, I don't know if anybody's noticed. I have a new Stetson. I think this may be the best fitting hat I've had. I've been wearing cowboy hats for several years, and I'm 7 1/4, but as far as size goes, that's what she said. But um, even if you're getting a 7 1/4, and sometimes they just feel a little loose. I have some. I bought 2 hats. Uh, I can't even remember the brand name now, but they are long out of business. But I don't think they survived COVID. But it's like when you bend over, you had to hold on to your hat or it'd fall off. This one is perfect. It doesn't cinch my head, but it stays on. I can bend over and, be setting my cigar and everything up for the spirit up for my photo that I always take, and hat stays on. It's a great hat. And I hope that you all have seen my stupid, silly King Chi 145L cigar humidor cigar cabinet video. It's a reel. It's like 59 seconds. I just I decided I was going to do something just funny, but it's at the same time, you know, highlight the my King Chi 145L because I love that cigar cabinet. I have a Go-V uh, uh, hygrometer, tells me what the humidity is in there. And you can look on the front door, it tells you. But I can sit in my chair in the living room, and I can push the Go-V app, and it'll tell me right now it's whatever 72.1 or 68.7 or whatever. Uh, but I have had it close to a month now, and I have put water in it once since I set it up. I set it up. I put some water in the tray, and then I've added water to it one time. And still today it's at like 69.7. It's perfect. Uh, they make some really great humidors. You can find a link to them in the description of this episode when the audio posts. Uh, definitely need to go and get yourself a King Chi. Doesn't have to be the 145L. That one holds 650 cigars. It's the one I've got. So I'm trying to work on filling it up. Ash is still holding on. I know I'm going to say that and it's going to drop off in my lap. Kind of circling back around because I've seen there's been some more people come on. The EP Carrillo La Historia E3 or EIII, whichever it is, uh, has some really good notes of cocoa and earth and leather, and there's a little bit of nuttiness. And I am blending that with, I'll hold the bottle up for you again here, Blackland's pecan brown sugar bourbon. Uh, wow. I'm looking at it and I kind of see some sunlight, like I'm looking through the spirit, and it's almost got like a purpley kind of color to it. It's really weird. But anyway, it's got the really great uh, sweetness and vanilla, and you got the oily pecan nuttiness, and these two are just really matching up very well together. And I was trying to go with a stick that I thought I could find a little bit of sweet and a little bit of nutty and that kind of thing, so that they go really well together. My other alternative was maybe going with a something along the lines of I call it Olivet, but I heard somebody that I thought had more experience than I did the other day pronounce it another way, and now I can't remember what it was. Anyway, like an Olivet G or an O, one of their really light Connecticut wrapper cigars, because those tend to have more creaminess and kind of vanilla-y, if that's a word, aspects to the palate. And I thought that would go pretty well too. But I just thought the EP Carrillo kind of brought something different to the pairing. Uh, and I'd save the Olivets for something else. I do have coming up, my next episode is going to be Suntory Toki, Japanese whiskey. Kind of excited about that. The only real Japanese whiskey I have experience with is Akashi Ume, which I love, which is they use sugar plums when they're making that, and it's really good. But it's really more of like a liqueur. I mean, this is close to that, but not quite. At least this does have a 70 proof to it, where I think the Akashi Ume is somewhere in the 60s. So, but anyway, some really good nuttiness, some really good cocoa, some earth and leather on the stick that's blending with the pecans and the brown sugar and the vanilla in the Blackland bourbon. I really want to try a couple of their other offerings. I know they have like just a regular bourbon. I'd like to get a hold of that and give it a shot. But they only launched in like 2018, 19. So they're really just kind of getting their feet under them. So I think they have maybe 3 different kind of bourbon offerings, and then they have a rye and a vodka and a gin. So I'm not much of a gin guy. I'm not a big juniper berry kind of. I never have been. I like vodka martinis over gin martinis, but nothing against gin. Not trying to, shame any spirit or anything like that. That's the way it is. For those of you that have just been joining in, the Blackland, it's got a great name considering how dark this bourbon is. Blackland Pecan Brown Sugar Bourbon. It's really good stuff. It is. And but still, 70 proof bourbon whiskey made with brown sugar, and pecans. That's the way I say it. Some people say pecans. That sounds weird. Pecans. But in the black land, you've got some you know, a really great palette of vanilla and brown sugar and kind of that pecan nutty oiliness. You know, it's very outside the lines, but that's where you can find some of the most interesting pairings because you know you're just doing the same thing all the time. It doesn't really matter that you know you may be using a different spirit over you know in a different cigar, but when you're really going outside the box and finding things that most people wouldn't even really think of. To me, it's you can find some really delicious things, and it's things that are very interesting. So, and if I'm nothing else, I am interesting. Still a great volume of smoke coming off the stick. It is. This has been a wonderful experience so far, and we're getting close. This is the Churchill. It's 6 7/8, and we're getting close to the halfway mark, but we're not there yet. So you guys are watching live. Y'all may be on here a while if you watch it all, and I definitely encourage that. I would you know do some tap dancing or juggling or something, but I can't do any of that. So I am going to have to hit this bottle again though. Love that sound. Here for you guys on live. But you can see it's got this lip around the top. Puts you in mind of an old pharmaceutical bottle or something. But it's definitely a really good spirit. And I do believe that it was not, I don't remember exactly, but I don't believe it was very expensive either. You know, like $30 or $40 for a fifth, if I remember right. So my doorbell's going off again in there. She'll bark at anything. Twig, leaf, doesn't matter. She will bark with just as much gusto if somebody is coming in the front door as a leaf blowing by the window. She'll let you know about it. Yesterday was her birthday. She was 4 years old. My mother says it is the most spoiled dog on the planet. And it's probably right in the running. Yesterday, we live in the metro area. We don't live out in the country, so you know it's like the suburbs. And so she got to go to, it's called Limestone Park or something like that. It's an old limestone quarry. It's in town, but you know you're down in this kind of quarry thing, and you don't really realize you're in town. And it's a creek running through there, and so she got to get off leash, and she's a AKC registered lab, and so she loves to swim. And she was just running through the water and swimming and having a good old time. And then stopped at Sonic and got her a hamburger, and so she got to have a hamburger. And then last night she had, this is a dog now, the dog. She had a birthday party, and her nephew, our daughter's dog, he was like 2 when we got her, and at the time my daughter lived here, and so she was raised with him, and so you know they get along really great and everything. And he was over here last night, and they had doggy ice cream. It comes in little cups, and Mrs. Sticks-n-Stone had hollowed out the center of Sadie's and stuck a candle in it, so she had a candle on her ice cream, and then she got like a half a dozen toys. She got more presents than the little kids did on their birthdays. So, but you know, they typically ask for something like a iPhone, and she didn't care about that. She'd love a great squeaky toy over an iPhone any day. And we would too after about the first 20 minutes, and she tears up the squeakers in them, you know. But for that first 20 minutes, there's a lot of squeaking going on. She loves it. I kind of think the cocoa in the stick, and it could be when it's blending here with the brown sugar, pecan brown sugar bourbon. The cocoa seems to be heading a little more towards kind of milk chocolate creaminess. It's really good. Mm. I got this stick, and it actually came as a 3-pack in a little wooden box. You had this and the Allegiance, and I can't remember what the other one was. Something like Allegiance. Anyway, it's the 3 EP Carrillos, and they all of them have been so far. All of them have been very good. I still have one more to do. I got to figure out something to pair with them. So, but yeah, it's been really good. And EP Carrillo, Ernesto's been doing it longer than some people in the business have been alive. Still a really nice volume of smoke coming off the stick. That brown sugar and pecan oiliness kind of just drift right over the palate notes of the stick. It just kind of intertwines with them as it all slowly crosses over your palate. And the finish on this Black Land it's short to medium, and it's very smooth and sweet. I mean, I don't know that I've ever had a bourbon that has been this what kind of word am I looking for? Has been this smooth on the palate. It even, I mean, I think it even rivals, some like the Gentleman Jack and stuff like that, more of the things that aren't delving into stuff with, made like this is made with pecans and brown sugars. So, I mean, it's keeping up. I really want to try their regular bourbon, see what it comes out like. I think it'd be really good. Hmm. All right, I'm gonna bring the other folks back in so we can do our at the half update. Howdy, folks. I am back. Here at the half, I was just telling the people on live stream, the cocoa has kind of morphed into more of a like a milk chocolate type note on the palate. I do kind of think I'm getting a little, I didn't tell you guys this on live stream. I am picking up a little bit of maybe like toasted coconut. I like that. And that has joined the earth and the nuttiness off the stick. The pecan brown sugar bourbon it's a surprisingly good match for this stick. Uh, I could see where it might get overshadowed by sticks that were really strong. One that you might need a stiffer uh, spirit to keep up with it. Something over 100 proof, or maybe one of the like Islay whiskeys, that Islay scotches that are have a lot of smoke and peat to them. But this is a really good matchup. They're going together very well. Uh, The sweet, and I think I've said this before, it doesn't really reach the level of liqueur, but it's sweet. Purists, you might want to try a friend's bottle. See if you like a sip out of it, because purists will probably poo-poo it. You know, it's not like the real regular stuff. But it is a very palatable and distinctive dram that I think it could go good on pretty much anybody's shelf if you give it the chance. I really do. Some other ideas that I had mentioned to the live stream folks is something along the lines of an Olivet O or G, one of the Connecticut wrappers. It's got a little more creaminess to it. Would probably be a really good match for the Texas pecan brown sugar bourbon. And the EP Carrillo, I think you could match it with just about anything up to 100 proof, and maybe even some things over 100. Once you got up like super high, you probably have to be really careful with what you got, because once you get up into the 120s, those are some very strong spirits. May not be close enough to the microphone. Sorry. I was used to talking to the people on live stream, and I've got that microphone right here hooked to my earphones. But once you got up to, like some of the 125s and 128s, some of those might be a little bit too strong for this stick. But if you got something that was like really complex, I think it'd be a really good matchup for it. I do. So, it's all personal opinion. So we've got the EP Carrillo La Historia, and it has given us some cocoa that is now at the half, kind of more morphed into like a milk chocolate. There's still the earthiness there, and the earthiness is kind of a damp kind of earthiness. You'd get some leather and some nuttiness, and the Blackland Texas pecan. I have to always look at it to get all these words in. But Blackland Texas pecan brown sugar bourbon is going very well with it. You get some really good, heavy, creamy notes of vanilla, and then you got the brown sugar aspect, which kind of comes across as a little more like, say, a molasses. And it's got its own nuttiness from the pecans. And pecans are, they're a fairly oily nut as opposed to like, say, an almond that's a little drier. And so you've got all of that going on with the milk chocolate and the earth and the leather and the nuttiness on the stick, and they are marrying together very, very well. For those of you on the audio, on the podcast, I will put you back on hold, and I will come back and give you my final thoughts. And those of you on live stream, we're going to keep marching on. I don't know what Sadie's seeing out there, but there's something got her riled up. It has gone back to being just a hair slanted. I know if those of you that were on this in the very beginning, it was really slanted at one point, and I touched it up, got it straightened up. It's doing it a little bit again too. I don't know. Now that it's doing it a second time after I've touched it up, straightened it out, I think that's something in the stick that's making it do that. So far, it's nothing that I can say has affected the stick. So, some of them hang to the left and some of them hang to the right. That's the way it is. Those of you that may have just joined in, I think we have some more on here now. There's the Blackland Texas pecan brown sugar bourbon. It looks like soda or maybe a shot of espresso. It is super dark. You cannot see through it. But it is sweet and delicious and blends very well with this stick. It has very, very good legs to it. Clings to the glass really well. You know, it's got pecans in it. So, and I think that would be, you know, of course I drink it neat when I'm on here, but I think if you served it over a big ice block or uh, uh, or had the bottle chilled, I think it would be super. I mean, this would be really something good for you to serve with a dessert, which you might not normally do with a regular bourbon. But this is sweet enough that, you know, if you were, say, a slice of pecan pie or a piece of chocolate cake, something like that, I think it'd go really, really well. It might even go really well cooking with it and, you know, like making some sort of cake, like a rum cake, you know, that kind of thing. I could see that going very, very well. Sorry, my mom's texting me on here and I'm not sure what she's talking about. So she may not know what she's talking about. I've been listening to her talk about not having her, she calls them her W-2s. She's retired. I, don't, I just haven't seen my W-2s. And I'm running out of time. I got to get my taxes done. And I'm like, well, did you call them? Well, yeah, but I never got them. Did you call them again? She was going to email them to me. If you check your spam folder, I don't know. So, yeah. I'm her tech support, which is scary. I still haven't figured out the other live stream thing I was trying to do. I had to just give up on that because it wasn't going to work. I was trying. I was going to be able to live stream. I can only live stream on here to YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. I was going to be able to live stream to Instagram on there, on that other platform. Couldn't get it to work. And I don't mean the Instagram part of it. I mean live streaming. Couldn't get it to work. Talked to them, talked to their tech support. They didn't know what was wrong. So I finally just like, yeah, I'll go back to the other thing. I can't live stream on Instagram, but you know, oh well. And that's where my largest following is. Uh, on Instagram, I just topped 30,000 followers. This is such an easy smoking cigar to be as dark as it is. It is amazing what Ernesto can do with cigars. Amazing. EP Carrillo, Ernesto Carrillo, for those of you that might not know. That is, you know, there's a lot of the, you know, a little bit darker cigars that they really hang on and have a really long finish and may even be just, might even be just a little harsh. Uh, but this one is not. It's very easy smoking to be as dark as it is. Very, very easy smoking. I keep saying it. Very easy smoking. You know, I don't do this for a living. I actually have a regular job. And the departments were doing you know, March Madness is going on right now. I'm recording this in first week of April. And so my department's 5 people. 2 of them live in Puerto Rico. And so my boss was just like, Brent, I think you probably know more about sports than anybody else. So why don't you just fill out our bracket for us? And I need it in about 2 hours. I normally, if I do a bracket, it takes me like 2 days because
I'm looking at the first round matchups. I'm looking how many seniors do they have? How many freshmen are they playing? What's their free throw percentage? What, all this kind of stuff. And I normally do very well in the first round. And then after that, it all goes to hell in a handbasket. But I think I've been trying to go back and find my bracket now. I think I still have the winner. I think the winner I picked is still in it. So Purdue. And I'm not a Purdue fan. It's just the big man they've got playing for them is awesome. He is awesome. And I watched a couple of games earlier in the season, not like in the last month and a half or so. And I was just like, I don't know if anybody can beat this dude. You got a really good big man like that. Oh, and I saw there was Sports Center or whatever, and they were showing him coming through the tunnel, going to the dressing room after they won to get into the championship game. And Shaquille was there. Shaquille O'Neal was there. Shook his hand, and they kind of hugged and said something back and forth. It's the only person I've ever noticed Shaquille having to look up to. And Shaquille's 7'2", 7'3", and when he was playing, he went like 350. And this guy made him look small. Man, that is so good. If you can find, I don't have another piece of electronic equipment out here that I can search this answer up real quick. But if you can find Blackland available, either to order it and have it delivered to your house, someplace like Wooden Cork, or at your local package store, you need to try some of this pecan brown sugar bourbon. This stuff is excellent. Now, it's not. I keep repeating myself, but we keep going up and down with the number of people that's on. So I want to make sure everybody gets the full information. So if you're hearing this for about the 10th time, I'm sorry, but it's a very outside the box kind of spirit, but it's really good. And I could see like my Mrs. Sticks-n-Stonez is not much of a colored liquor, a dark liquor drinker. He's not much on, whiskeys and whiskeys and stuff like that, Scotch, bourbon, that kind of stuff. She prefers like rum and vodka, but she loves Apple Crown. And Vanilla Crown. She likes it too. And I think this would probably be something that she would really like. Yeah. Because I really like it. But there's just so much vanilla creaminess in it. Even separate from the sweetness, you just get this creamy vanilla explosion in your mouth every time you take a sip. It's just, and I love vanilla. Oh, love vanilla. It is so approachable and so easy to sip that I think any alcohol drinker could probably take a few sips of it and go, this is pretty good. Except for the, like I've said here before, the purists, they might not like it because they're like, it's not like regular bourbon. No, it's not. But don't be drinking the same thing all the time. I have a very diverse palate. I have a DEI palate. I know that's a kind of a bad word in certain circles, but in this particular instance, it's a good one. Because when you are diverse and inclusive in your spirit selection, you find a lot of things that are really good. And it's making for an absolutely wonderful afternoon because it's like 75 degrees here in North Texas, sun shining, barely a cloud in the sky, nice little breeze. I've got the pool here at the No Shoes Bar and Grill. I've got the little fountain bubbling, and man, good cigar, a really nice, easy drinking spirit. You don't get much better until it gets warmer and you can get in the pool. It's still a little cold for that. Water's only about 70. And if I'm not at the beach, uh, I have a place down in Panama City Beach, right out on the beach. If I'm not there or on some Caribbean island, my pool is a place I want to be. I want to be at the No Shoes Bar and Grill. I love the pool, the ocean. I did a couple of years in the Navy, and there were some things you get up every like I went I think 3 weeks one time without seeing land, and after you get up and walk outside and look around and you don't see anything but the same blue ocean that you saw a few days for the last few days, you're like, wow. But as far as island living, that's my jam. It's exactly where I want to be. One of the saints, St. Bart's, St. Kitts, Thomas, John, Croix, you know. Uh, I did hear, for those of you now, I'm a parrot head. God rest Jimmy's soul, and love Kenny Chesney. And I did hear that the Quiet Mon bar down in St. John closed. It's terrible. A lot of good songs got written in that bar. Rocco, that's the next door neighbor's dog. Every time they let him out, when they open that back door, he comes running out. He's I don't know, some kind of maybe a miniature uh, Labradoodle, something like that. But he's really small. Uh, they already had him before we got Sadie, and we got Sadie at 5 weeks, and she just turned 4 years, and she's 95 pounds, and he is like 20. Uh, but he's got that kind of Labradoodle look to him, but I don't remember. Anyway, they open the door, and he just comes charging out the back door, and like there's somebody in the backyard, even though there's not. It's funny because Sadie normally she's like, "What's going on?" Still, that weird wavy, and I mean that's a fairly if you're looking at this on I don't have the other people on, but I mean that's a significant wave right there. That's not, oh, it's a little wavy, it's okay. I hear people talk about, oh, it was like a laser crisp burn line on this stick. I don't see that. Maybe I'm not smoking the cigars they're smoking, but most of mine are kind of wavy. I'm really hoping to get a hold of Rocky Patel's got a new one coming out or already out, maybe, the Year of the Dragon, and I want to try that one. Sounds very interesting. And Rocky is the man now. He used to be an attorney, and then he decided he wanted to get into cigars, and he has done a very good job at it. He makes some wonderful cigars. One cigar of his that I've had that I actually did kind of like it, but I smoked that same cigar 2 or 3 different times, and I had the same problem every time, and that is it made me nauseous. And by the third one, I was I was specifically trying to make sure I smoked it slow. Still had the same problem. That one stick, the Royale, and it's a wonderful stick, but I do remember I'd cut it and light it, and I would, I kind of had one of those like mental notes that it was a super easy draw. So that's why a lot of times when I cut these for the shows and I say it's got a really easy draw, I'll even go ahead and tell you uh, that I don't think it's overly easy. Uh, and I don't think I've ever had another one where I've, noted that it's been so easy that I've had that kind of problem. That's the only thing I could think of. So. For those of you that are just joining in, the EP Carrillo La Historia gave us cocoa and earth and leather and a nuttiness with a little bit of maybe black pepper on the retro inhale in the beginning. By the halfway mark, the cocoa had kind of morphed into more of a milk chocolate, kind of a creamy, milk chocolate. And I'm pairing it with, let me get the bottle here, Blackland, Texas pecan brown sugar bourbon. And I realized that that is not the normal kind of bourbon, but I saw it and I like pecans and I like brown sugar. And I'm like, I bet I could come up with something that would go with that really well. And I did. The bourbon, because I think because partially because of the pecans and the kind of the oiliness that's in that particular nut, it's got a really good cling to the glass and has really good legs on it, and it does you on your palate. It sits on your palate similar to how something like a Kahlua sits on your palate, uh, and it's sweet, but it's not like a liqueur kind of sweet. It's close, but not there. Um, and the pecans give it kind of a nuttiness, and then it's got like the biggest thing on the palate is vanilla, and the vanilla and it's with the cocoa, but now the vanilla with the chocolate on the stick has been it's just been a wonderful experience. Um, and I was very pleasantly surprised. And I thought it'd be a good spirit, but I think it's even better than I expected it to be. Uh, it's it's really good, and it's very affordable. I think it was like $30 or $40 for a fifth, something like that. You might have to go to a place like Wooden Cork to get it, unless you're in Texas. In Texas, you might be able to find it much easier at your package store. But they first launched in like 2018, 19. So I'm sure they're still spreading their wings as far as getting, across the country. But you might also be able to find it at Total Wine if you have Total Wines in your area. My microphone keeps sliding down. I hope y'all been able to hear me. It just looked like I'm saying something. That kind of thing. My audio thing says it's running on battery, and it shouldn't be because I have it plugged up. But we still got plenty of battery left, and I'm almost done. So it doesn't affect you guys. You guys are just dependent on my iPhone 15's battery, and it's still fully charged. And something else I mentioned earlier, for those of you that joined in a little later, I think that would be like really good to cook with, like baking maybe certain kinds of pies or cakes or whatever. Um, and also, it is approachable enough that I think you could serve it like as a dessert spirit with like a pecan pie or something along those lines, I think it'd go really well. Normally, you don't think of a spirit like bourbon, what you could serve with cake or pie or something like that, but I think this you could. Yeah, I think it'd be really good. I think you would love it. We're almost down. We're almost there. And it's been an hour and 10 minutes, and I was probably 5 or 10 minutes into the live stream before I actually lit the cigar. I have to tell you all about it and everything. So this has been an hour smoke. It's almost over. I love watching smoke in the glass. Next week is going to be Suntory Toki, Japanese whiskey. I'm really looking forward to that. Man, this is a slit all the way down again. Thanks to my sister-in-law, Gina, for getting that for my birthday. I'm very excited to try that. So far, I've only tried the Akashi Ume, and it's really good. Now, it's a sugar plum, a sugar plum whiskey, and it's really good. But the Suntory Toki is it is a blend of whiskey from the 3 different distilleries that make up Suntory. And I've seen some places actually call it a single malt, but I can't say that it's a single malt because if you're getting whiskeys from 3 different places, it's kind of hard to say single malt. And one of the distilleries makes almost like you would consider Scotch. It's like 100% malted barley, but this is a mixture of malted grain and grain whiskey. So it can't be a single malt, I don't think. Because, single malt is 100% malted barley from the same field. I may not explain that right, but anyway, I'm looking forward to it. I can't remember. Let me go and check my notes here. Oh, yeah. I am pairing that. It's going to be another great episode because I'm pairing that with a Drew Estate Undercrown Shade. And I think it is going to be a really, really great episode. I'm very excited to try the Suntory. And I do like pretty much anything Drew Estate puts out. So, you'll really want to catch me for that one too. I have not looked on here. Haven't had it set up right. Okay. I now have it where I can see comments, but it's not that I'm not technological. It's just I get distracted pretty easily. Freedom Fatigues. Definitely need to go to Freedom Fatigues. Take a look at some of their stuff. They have some really great stuff. Man, these t-shirts are like super soft. And I'm working on a deal with a place that sells island themed stuff, like t-shirts with the beachy kind of logos and stuff on it. I won't jinx it and say who they are, but hoping I'll get a positive response on that this next week. So I'm gonna be going to the beach in a couple of months, ready to get down to the Redneck Riviera, sit on the beach, watching the waves, listening to the waves come in. Got my island music on, what I call Ollie music is, Jimmy Buffett, Kenny Chesney, and uh, stick figures, those kind of things. Sit on the beach and just chill. Don't really talk about who I work for, uh, but the place I work for, I'm. It's the only place I've worked like as a professional, uh, where I don't have to feel like I have to work while I'm on vacation. Uh, they don't want you doing that, and I don't have to work overtime. So, well, I can't work overtime unless they tell me I can work overtime. Because even though I'm salary, they have to pay me time and a half for overtime. Good Lord, this is all the way down here again. Let's see if I can. Now that I'm almost done, I've had to fix this thing like 3 or 4 times. I need a little more. That was good that time. It wasn't as good of a. And I mentioned this earlier in the show, but the bottles are very distinctive. They put you in mind of a like an old pharmacy, an old apothecary kind of bottle that they would keep their various powders and liquids and stuff in. The pharmacist. I think the bottle's really cool. And when I'm at this angle, and it got kind of the sunlight back here behind it, it's like it's purple, like a deep, deep purple outside the lines. So, all right, I think we need to go ahead and bring the other folks back in. Hey, stoners, I am back. Man, this has been a very interesting and surprisingly approachable pairing. Um, the stick continued with that earthy, leathery kind of journey with the sweetness from it kind of changed into a chocolate there at the half. Uh, I think the chocolate may have gotten a little bit darker as we moved through the last half of the stick. Uh, and it might actually lean to a little bit more on the bitter, sweet chocolate kind of side. Um, but I can definitely see how this was the number 2 stick of 2014, according to Cigar Aficionado, and they are the people that know. Um, it was a really, really great stick, and it did go really well with the Badlands Texas Pecan Brown Sugar Bourbon. Uh, that may not be, everyone's cup of tea, but I think you should give it a try. I mean, how do you know until you try, right? And you might find you like it. Um, and at about 35 or $40 for a fifth, you know, even if you don't like it, you may have people over, and you'd be like, you're trying to show the guys, and you're like, well, I got this, and you know that crazy guy on YouTube or Facebook or wherever that are watching me from, he said it was great, and it was a little too sweet for me, or it was, it wasn't, like a purist, kind of bourbon thing for me, but maybe you can try it, and they may love it because everybody's different. That's the thing, is even when you're talking about listening to people that do the kind of stuff that I do, which there's not very many people that do the stuff that I do, which is pairing whiskey and or spirits and cigars. Uh, Most of them focus on one or the other. They either do whiskey reviews or spirit reviews or cigar reviews. I do them both together. And back down again. All right. Um, and we'll tell you different things. You listen to me, and I'll tell you I taste this, and you'll listen to somebody else, and they'll tell you something different. It's because everybody's palate's different. But it does give you kind of a frame of reference, you know. Um, Now, I think I mentioned this. The live streamers are hearing this for like the eighth or ninth time, but the pecan brown sugar bourbon, I think would be excellent to cook with, like your baking, pies, cakes, stuff like that. And it would also be good to go with a dessert, like if you were having a piece of pecan pie, or even a piece of like pumpkin pie, chocolate cake, something like that. I think it would go really well. It's not overly sweet, but it is sweet, and it's just a huge blast of vanilla in it, and then you have the oiliness and the nuttiness from the pecans, uh, and it's I couldn't really find anything to complain about other than to say that the purists might not like it as well. Uh, I would give it I'd give it an 85 because it's a little light on the proof. I think they could even go a little higher. I think they could get it up to an 80 proof, and it wouldn't change the dynamics of the spirit, but it would still give it enough heft, if you will, to make it in line with the lowest proof, bourbons that you can normally find. Uh, and I think that gets it up into that quote unquote normal range. You're somewhere between 80 and 100. Uh, so I think if they did that, I think there'd be even less to complain about. Not that I'm complaining, just, trying to be all encompassing. So it is definitely a nice change of pace. And the EP Carrillo La Historia, this is an excellent cigar. It really is. It's almost to go out on me because I'm getting down here. I'm going to have to peel the band off in a minute or I'm going to set it on fire. Um, it's a really good medium strength cigar, in my opinion, even though it is a darker wrapper. And it's got that, really nice earth and cocoa or chocolate, and a little bit of nuttiness. And it just really went well with this particular spirit. It didn't overpower the spirit. And I think that you could, if you got up above the 100 proof mark, you probably could overpower the cigar, depending on what spirit you chose, because some, even at 115, 118 proof, are still really, really smooth. Uh, so, it's all about in experimentation. Uh, Here's a wrapper, popped right on off. It's a very beautiful wrapper. I usually don't say a whole lot about the wrappers, but that one is really attractive. So, still just, even though we're down to the end, it's still just a really great stick. I just want to go back and take another puff or two off of it. I hope you have enjoyed this episode as much as I have enjoyed bringing it to you. Please leave me comments. Let me know what you think about the show, this pairing. If there's anything that you'd like to see paired, uh, I'll take, if you just say, hey, I've got this stick, I'd like to know what to pair it with, or hey, I've got this spirit that I really like, but I'm not really sure what cigar to marry it up to. What do you think? Be happy to do it. Please hit like, subscribe, share, notify so you know when I drop new content. I'm on basically all the social medias other than TikTok. I don't do TikTok. Uh, but you can even find me on like Rumble and Getter, and I'm on Truth, but I hadn't been on there in a long time. Pretty much on those, my only real issue is if you're not talking about politics, they're not really listening to you. And I'm here to talk about sticks and spirits, not politics. I have my ideologies, but that's not what I'm here for. Um, Go to the website, sticksndstonez.com, STICKSNSTONEZ.com. There you can find blog posts, which I gotta get some more blog posts written. I haven't written one in a week or two. I need to get that done. I write about a lot of different stuff. I wrote about the Boston Tea Party from the Revolutionary War time frame. I talk about spirits and cigars and just all different kinds of stuff. So you can kind of find something for everybody. And you can also find links to prior episodes, and you can find links to all of our affiliates, like Freedom Fatigues, the shirt I'm wearing right now. It's a colonial flag with a 2A inside the stars. Freedom Fatigues is a veteran-owned business in South Carolina, and they make everything here in the United States. Great thing. Keep our American workers working. So, and it's, hey, it's a veteran. It's like I am. Sports veterans. I mean, they put their life on the line for you. Least you can do is buy a T-shirt, right? So, um, Caliber Coffee. Caliber Coffee is another one. It's a veteran-owned business, and I used to own a coffee house, and they have some of the best blends of any coffee I've ever tried. They don't do any single origins. It's all blended, but I prefer their lightest roast, which is 22 caliber. But their 9 millimeter, everything is gun caliber, bullet ammunition related. And so once you get up to the 44 Magnum and 300 Blackout, you're in the really dark roast. And I've tried all of them, and they're all good. I just prefer that 22 caliber. It's really good. They do the K cups, they do whole bean, they do grounds. You can get anything you want. There's a link to them right on our website. And True Classic Tees. I have a lot of True Classic tees. It got to where I don't even wear my polo shirts nearly as much as I used to, pullovers with the collar. Uh, and then definitely need to go by and see the folks at Total Wine and Cigars International. I put a link to the spirit and the cigar at Total Wine on every episode of the podcast. So when you go and you're listening to the episode and you're reading the description, it'll tell you, click this link to go look at the cigar. And you can go look at it while I'm smoking it and tell you about it. And you can order it right there. So, and also Tip Top Proper Cocktails, pre-made cocktails in cans. Come home from work and you're like, I sure would like a martini, or I sure would like an old fashioned, or I sure would, you can buy it in the can and have it in your refrigerator. You don't have to worry about trying to mix it. Keep it cold, put it in a glass, you're good. And the folks at Keeper's Heart Whiskey. They make some excellent whiskeys. They are the only place I have found that blends Irish whiskey. Their distillery their operation is in Minnesota. They blend Irish whiskey with American whiskey or bourbon, and they have some excellent stuff. There's a link to them as well. So that is it. That is all for today. I hope you've enjoyed it. I look forward to getting together with you again. But until then, keep your sticks dry, your stones cold, and have a great day. All right, sticks dry, stones cold. I hope to see you again next weekend. Thanks.